I got a question for you, Tank. At 147, how does a fight with you and Terence Crawford look?
Damn.
147. Shit, if I
147.
tap that chin, you know he going to sleep.
I already know. I already know
he
he
ain't
is.
got no chance.
I already know he is.
He said no chance.
The argument between Tank and Crawford is still spreading in the boxing world, and it looks like they will keep going at it for a long time. For years, they have argued about who could knock the other out. But now, the talk has shifted to who makes more money and who has the bigger wife. Things got personal when Tank made comments, and it didn't take long for Crawford and many fans to respond. After Tank suggested a fight between him and Crawford, Crawford had enough. He decided to tell Tank the harsh truth. Crawford didn't hold back when he posted on X telling Tank, "Stop being scared and fight Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis," before talking about fighters on a level you'll never reach. Those words hit hard, like a left hook, adding even more fuel to their heated rivalry.
Right, grow some balls and fight Shakur, Keyshawn, and stop being scared. That's probably why you ran your girl over and beat her ass, because she know you ain't got no nuts, my people. You know? And then right there, Gervonta pretty much insinuated, if I was to fight Crawford, I'll make him look little. Then they both said, yeah, I want dudes to see me and try something. That would be his last going for greatness. And then Terence said, go for it then.
Crawford's call-out is personal. Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn Davis aren't just fighters. They're close friends of Crawford. In fact, Keyshawn is even his protege, training under their shared coach, Brian Bo-Mac McIntyre. But let's be real, Keyshawn Davis hasn't truly proven himself on the big stage yet. His fights against Miguel Madueño and Nahir Albright were disappointing, and fans often remind him that he avoided fighting Cuban star Andy Cruz, who beat him 4 times in the amateurs. Still, Crawford believes this is the level Tank should be at, instead of constantly mentioning his name. While there's some truth to Crawford's words, some fans believe Tank could actually have a chance, even possibly win, if he ever fought Bud.
GervontaDavis speaking about you. Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that's moving up 2 weight classes and, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin, so tell him to come and touch it.
Wow.
Tank, unsurprisingly, isn't interested in fighting the names Crawford mentioned. GervontaDavis has built a reputation as a box office star. He knows his value and has no intention of giving Keyshawn Davis the spotlight, especially since Keyshawn doesn't bring a big fan base or marketability. Then there's Shakur Stevenson. While he's a highly skilled fighter, many critics call him boring because of his defensive style. Even promoter Eddie Hearn, who signed Shakur hoping to turn him into a global star, is struggling to market him in the U.S. Tank doesn't see a fight with Shakur as worth the risk or effort, especially since he'd be the one carrying all the promotional weight. But Crawford wasn't done. He took things even further in a scathing tweet, now deleted, where he not only mocked Tank's career, but also attacked his personal life. He wrote, "That's probably why you ran your girl over and beat her ass, because you don't got no nuts, and she knows it." He even ended the message with a laughing emoji. Boxing rivalries are nothing new, but this one is getting extremely personal. Usually, fighters diss each other's careers or fighting styles, but bringing up family and personal controversies crosses a line. These brutal insults show just how deep this feud has become. Crawford isn't just questioning Tank's choices. In boxing, he's going after his pride. Tank didn't stay quiet. He fired back, accusing Crawford of chasing paychecks instead of greatness. According to Tank, Crawford's push for a fight against Canelo Alvarez in Saudi Arabia isn't about legacy. It's about securing a big retirement payday. "Y'all really think he's chasing greatness?" Tank wrote on X. "He's not. That's what he has to do to make decent money." Tank's claim isn't baseless. Reports suggest Crawford's last fight against Israel Madrimov only brought in $75K to $100K pay-per-view buys, a tiny number compared to the blockbuster figures. Tank consistently pulled.
You got guys who are really, really, really good, and they're not really hell-bent on becoming a star. I put you in that category. I put Terence in that category. Maybe Shakur, where they feel like they don't really want to, like, Terence ain't bothered about going to premieres.
The Crawford sees things differently. He believes that moving up 2 weight classes to fight the unified super middleweight champion is about securing his legacy in boxing history. Legacy is the word he uses, but Tank isn't convinced. To Davis, Crawford jumping 2 divisions without first proving himself at 168 lbs seems desperate. Fans are split on the issue. Some admire Crawford's ambition, while others agree with Tank, believing the Canelo fight is more about money than glory. The tension between Crawford and Tank isn't new. It started after Crawford's dominant win over Errol Spence Jr. While Crawford was celebrating becoming the undisputed champion, Tank made headlines by claiming he could beat him at 147 lbs. Crawford later addressed the statement during an...
How you feel about that fight? Is it even possible at a catch weight?
There ain't no catch weight. You come up to 47.
You're not even entertaining a catch weight.
No, I'm not.
He's a champ though too, undefeated.
And what champ? Come on, man, tell me what belt. You know boxing. You forgot Devin Haney is undisputed. Devin Haney got all the belts. He the champ. Nobody else the champ. I'm gonna come up here where the big boys at.
On the Breakfast Club, he remained calm but confident, reminding everyone that there are levels to boxing. If he comes up to 147 thinking he's just going to knock Terence Crawford out, he's got another thing coming, he said. It was a measured response, but with a clear warning. Crawford isn't a fighter you can intimidate.
Somebody like Tank say, 147, I knock Bud out.
Well, he just talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he got the confidence in himself that he believed that he can do that because he's been knocking all these fighters out that he's been in the ring with. You know, so no knock to Tank, but there's definitely levels.
Despite all the back and forth, a fight between Crawford and Tank seems unlikely. Crawford is focused on fighting Canelo Alvarez, a matchup that could bring both legacy and a massive payday. Meanwhile, Tank Davis has his next fight lined up against Lamont Roach Jr. at the Barclays Center on March 1st. Fans are left wondering, is this just talk, or could we actually see Crawford and Tank in the same ring one day? What makes this rivalry even more interesting are the mixed opinions surrounding it. Some fans and analysts argue that Crawford is punching down by engaging with Tank.
I mean, if he want to retire with the career that he got, then go ahead and do whatever you got to do. So I disagree with it. I think it's soft, but that's on him.
Then there's the question of marketability. Crawford may not be the pay-per-view star that Tank is, but his accomplishments in the ring speak for themselves. Should legacy matter more than popularity in boxing? Tank, on the other hand, is no stranger to controversy. Critics accuse him of cherry-picking opponents and avoiding the toughest challenges in his division, especially fighters like Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney. That's why Crawford's comments about Tank being scared resonate with those who believe Davis has yet to prove himself against the best. But Tank's supporters see it differently. They argue that he has nothing left to prove. His record, knockout power, and ability to sell out arenas already make him one of boxing's biggest stars.
Davis, bad dude. See, what I like about Tank is Tank brings something different. You know, back in the days, everybody had something. Muhammad Ali was a mover boxer, George was a puncher, Ernest Shavers was a puncher. Everybody had something they brought to the table. Larry Holmes had a jab. Mike Weaver had over.
Terence Crawford has finished 31 of his 41 fights. Inside the distance, while Gervonta Tank Davis boasts 28 knockouts in 30 fights. If these two powerhouses ever stepped into the ring together, it would be pure chaos, the kind of chaos where legends are made. Crawford is known for breaking opponents down piece by piece, while Tank has a reputation for sudden, explosive knockouts. That seemed to come out of nowhere. But both men share one undeniable trait. When they smell blood, the fight is as good as over. Boxer Brian Norman...
Rank him probably in your top 10, maybe even your top 5.
Where do you rank Terence, in your opinion?
I put him in the top 15, maybe the top 10. because he definitely had the skill of a top 5. Just that he hasn't had the opposition that some guys were able to get, and that's not his fault. He just made one of the best fighters in his weight class look like nobody. That's pretty damn good. Now,
Jr., who has sparred with Crawford, described what it's like to face him in the ring. He recalled being systematically broken down, not by one devastating punch, but by a relentless, pinpoint assault. He doesn't necessarily one-shot people, but he just beats you up and then he kills you, Norman said. On the other hand, he gave Tank full credit for his raw knockout power. As far as one-shot power, I gotta give that to Tank. But here's the difference. Crawford's true brilliance lies in his ability to adapt on the fly. He switches stances, finds weaknesses in real time, and takes full control of the fight. Tank, on the other hand, thrives in chaos, where his explosiveness can change everything in an instant. Boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. weighed in on this hypothetical matchup, praising Tank's raw power. That's the one thing Tank has that Errol Spence didn't have. In boxing, an explosive fighter can go a lot of places. Jones's words hold weight. Spence, an elite technician, couldn't handle Crawford's adjustments and relentless pressure. But Tank is different. He's a predator who can turn a fight around with a single, devastating punch. Of course, critics argue that Tank's level of competition hasn't been on Crawford's level. Crawford has beaten some of the best, including Errol Spence Jr.
405. 405. There you go.
Crawford has ventured into the toughest waters and not only survived, he's dominated. Meanwhile, Davis has taken down big names like Leo Santa Cruz, Ryan Garcia, and Rolando Romero. Impressive wins, no doubt, but not quite the same murderer's row that Crawford has faced. And yet, that's exactly what makes this fantasy matchup so intriguing. Tank has a way of making elite fighters look ordinary, which suggests he could rise to Crawford's level.
Stop closing up. Gotta let it go. Keep turning, step around. Keep turning.
Davis, while shorter and more compact, has never struggled to carry his power across weight classes. However, facing someone like Crawford at 145 lbs would take him into uncharted territory. Stylistically, Crawford's versatility would be his biggest weapon. His ability to switch seamlessly between orthodox and southpaw could frustrate Davis, forcing him to think instead of react, a situation where Tank is arguably at his weakest. But let's not act like Davis is just a brawler. His calculated destruction of Ryan Garcia, ending with a perfectly placed liver shot, proved his ring intelligence. Davis doesn't just throw punches, he sets traps. The real question is, could he set a trap for someone as experienced and cerebral as Crawford? Then there's the X factor, Davis's ability to end a fight in an instant. Unlike
However,
most fighters,
all that brought around this debate is the involvement of Saudis in boxing, and even though some fans, Crawford, and other boxing figures are throwing jabs at Tank for resisting this new way of things, some are actually thanking him for trying to keep boxing as the sport it was. Even Tim Bradley let Gervonta Tank Davis know recently that he respects him because he didn't bend down to kiss Turki Al-Sheikh's ring like other fighters going to Riyadh. Bradley, never one to mince words, openly commended Davis's decision to stay true to his roots. That's why I respect Tank. Hey, Tank, you got a new fan, dog. You are a real one, dog. As of late, you've been showing me you a real one. I like that, said Tim Bradley on X, reacting to Gervonta Davis going after Turki Al-Sheikh and the many...
For me, number 5, of course, it is the heavyweight.
Oh, no, okay.
Oh, you are in serious
trouble.
You are in serious trouble.
They know I love the heavyweight. You can add any fighters you want as number 5 heavyweight, not fighter.
And these aren't easy questions to answer, which is exactly why the idea of this fight fires up the imagination. Tank, the big hitter from Baltimore, has claimed he would knock Crawford out. Maybe jokingly, maybe not. But Crawford, the bigger man, has warned him not to punch above his weight. That kind of trash talk fuels debates, and in this case, it's justified. Davis may have the edge in raw power, but Crawford's mastery of the sweet science makes him a nightmare for any opponent. The truth is, if these two ever stepped into the ring, both would bring an arsenal capable of dismantling the other.
I'd love to work with him, you know, because I like what he's about. He's all about making the big fights happen, and I'm all for that, you know. But I've got a team, you know, I've got a professional team with me, and everything is all...
The outcome of this fight would depend on who could impose their style first. Crawford with his suffocating control, or Davis with his explosive chaos. While this fight may never happen, the battle lines are clear. It's a clash of two elite fighters, each clinical in their own way. Davis's raw explosiveness versus Crawford's calculated brutality. A matchup like this would leave fans divided, spark endless debates, and make the sport even more exciting just by imagining it. Crawford has finished 31 of his 41 fights inside the distance, while Davis boasts 28 knockouts in 30 fights. Both have the ability to end a fight at any moment. But beyond the fight itself, there's also the Saudi Arabia factor. The increasing involvement of Saudi investors in boxing has become a hot topic, with some fighters embracing it and others resisting. Crawford and other boxing figures have criticized Tank for not following the trend, but some fans are actually applauding him for standing his ground. Even former champion Tim Bradley recently showed his respect for Davis, praising him for not bowing down to Saudi money like other fighters chasing big paydays in Riyadh. That's why I respect Tank. Hey, Tank, you...
Tell me to have the great fights. I don't understand. Give me good offer, and we give you good fight. You don't want it. Okay, give it in your way. You see our interest offer for him, and he doesn't respond with what we think is good for.
Got a new fan, dog. You're a real one. As of late, you've been showing me you're a real one. I like that. Tim Bradley on X, reacting to Davis calling out fighters cozying up to Saudi promoters. No matter where fans stand on the Crawford vs. Tank debate or the Saudi influence in boxing, one thing is clear. Davis is making waves inside and out